with the Basque Center for Climate Change. We are the coordinator of MAIA project, and I would like to really welcome you to this side event about the discovery services and the knowledge management, the knowledge toolkit that we are showcasing on these days, which is the main outcome that we bring to ECCA from our project. First, I would like to introduce you a little bit on what MAIA is solving, and afterwards I will give the answer to.
Can you restart, please?
Okay. No, but mine is not that important. Yeah, I can, don't worry. Life issues, more apologize. The point is that we are recording this to make it available for people beyond ECCA and the people who are in other rooms, which probably are committing a big mistake. Hello.
Hi.
Thanks.
I will take a seat.
We are about to start. Thank you.
I have to finish my food.
And then I will sit there.
In the meanwhile, over the table you have the flyer of the project with the outcomes that we are going to talk about. So you can follow up the discussion with these short descriptions. In addition, there are other services, such as the communication elements that we developed, the activities that we developed on policy making, that today we are not going to discuss about this, because today we are here to discuss about knowledge management and exploitation services. If you don't have time to keep here the whole hour, so it's going to be around an hour and a half. We have a booth in the other side of the building, so you are more than welcome to visit us and along the rest of the day to keep a conversation with us about your projects, about your center, your initiative, because for sure they're sweet on MAIA, and if not, for sure we have the website, all these social media, the newsletter, just to keep updated, because we're facing the last months of the project where everything is going to happen. So the solutions will be published. We will organize different events to showcase the elements that we have been creating. So are we ready or? Great. Okay, so I would like to welcome you again to this MAIA side event at ECCA 2025. My name is Íñigo Rodilla. I am project manager for MAIA project at the Basque Center for Climate Change. We are a research institution in the Basque Country, northern Spain, that makes research basically on governance, economics, on different aspects to fight on mitigation and adaptation to climate change, among other topics. We are the coordinators of MAIA project, and today we're here to discuss and showcase you the discovery services and the knowledge management tools that we developed as part of the wide range of solutions that MAIA project is proposing. But first, I would like to introduce you a little bit on what MAIA project is. We are a coordination and support action who started on 2022 with the objective of maximizing the impact of the European, just 1 second, yeah, of the European climate change results from projects. What we found that we have a spread, so from the projects that comes from Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe, we have a lot of results, databases, deliverables, reports, policy briefs. This is quite spread on the website, on Zenodo, on different repositories from the universities, on Cordis. We have a lot of information, but we are not that sure if this information is available, usable by the people, by the researchers, by the governments. So the main objective of MAIA is to act as an impact multiplier for these project results. How we created this? We put the experience together of different projects. So some of them are some of them are here represented on the consortium for sure. So we put all these experiences from different projects into the project to work together on this background about how to maximize the impact of the project results that we were gathering now, as I mentioned, not just from Cluster 6 or live programs. Also, we are in close contact with Meet for Adapt, for the mission of adaptation, with the mission for cities. So the main objective, as I mentioned, is make this dispersed knowledge to make it interoperable, accessible, and usable, and the main topic that we will be talking today about is about how to render this economical. So how to, okay, we have this knowledge, we detect it, we make it usable, but how can we put these solutions into marketable solutions, into usable solutions for the governments, for the city halls, for the public authorities, for the innovation centers. This is what these discovery services that my colleagues Andrea and Barsha will showcase afterwards will try to boost how to make these solutions to reach to the market and to the end users. So when we start with the project, we find this inefficient and loss of opportunities in the landscape, a limited reach for the research, the visibility. Everybody who works on a EU-funded project knows that most of the results keeps on the website, keeps on the Cordis, and beyond the project duration, just in few occasions, it has a relevant impact. Just when one project enters a consecutive project, the previous results are key for the exploitation of these elements. So what we need at this moment is to engage. So this is why the project has a first part really focused on building community, establishing networks, creating clusters, to engage from individual to stakeholders. We are available to every audience to make them active part of these processes, ensuring that they get the most accurate information. All the tools that we are going to talk today are fed with information trusted. This is one of the key parts of MAIA. We know that now in the internet we have a lot of information, fake news, not trusted information about climate change or climate research. So we are working with this EU-funded project results with that we know that is trusted information. And then for sure, once we have engaged these people to make an active outreach campaign. So in the end, the final outcomes is this generation of a coordinated network of agents and stakeholders and projects that work together to maximize this impact. The creation of the technological structures, which is the thing that we're going to talk today about, different tools, this toolkit that you have over the table in the flyers, to create it and to activate this community through these tools to generate this continuous impact generator for the EU-funded results on climate change research. As I mentioned it before, this is not just for researchers, this is not just for companies. We have activities for everybody. From policymakers, we develop different policy roundtables, dialogues between science and civil society. We are talking to the innovation ecosystem, to researchers, and to the civil society. Just for giving an example, at this moment we have 8 exhibitions in Italy with an itinerant exhibition that we created about the importance of the information in Europe to fight climate change. And this is now in Italy. It could be moved to Spain. So if you know for any infrastructure or organization that is able to host it, we are more than welcome to know about you. And the key benefits in the end of this project are to help people, to help this dispersed knowledge to connect, to make it interoperable and usable, and to facilitate the access to all these audiences that sometimes are quite far from what we are doing from academia and innovation. And now I would like, just before to give the floor to my colleagues, just to introduce on what we are going to see today, in case that you are not able to keep the whole session. In our website, we have a tab for knowledge, and on knowledge tools, you can find all the tools that we are talking about today. Some of them are public, others require a permission and access, so do not hesitate if you're interested on explore them to contact us, and we will give you an answer. From today, there are also a fact sheet in Spanish, Portuguese, English, and French with deeper information on these knowledge tool files. This is the whole catalog we are going to talk today. So we have first we have Sukaina talking about the connectivity hub and the taxonomy that they have been working in. Afterwards, Dennis will introduce us in the AI-powered tool to summarize concepts on knowledge, which is really interesting, kind of climatic GPT. And in the end, we will have Andrea and Barsta talking about the MAIA Discovery Services, which is a complete catalog that comes from a marketplace with different elements that will support these technology providers on targeting to the market, on reaching these final users, including the possibility of finding, for sure, the finance, the economic support to carry out these activities. So that was all from my side. Thank you very much for attending, and I give you the floor to Kaina to introduce you on, or to introduce us on the connectivity hub from the taxonomy. Thank you.
Thank you, Inigo. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I'm super excited to share with you the latest work that we're doing on the Connectivity Hub. And we're trying to address some of the problems that Inigo already mentioned around the experience we have every day of being subjected to an avalanche of information, where information is scattered across many platforms, making it hard to filter what's relevant. And often users have too much information to review and very limited time, and also find it difficult to know what content is credible and what can be trusted in this era of misinformation and disinformation as well. Other barriers to using information are around language and terminology. So we also have lots of challenges around scientific terminology that different users could find challenging, and we often, even within our own disciplines, use different terms. And all of this is obviously affecting the impact of our adaptation work and our climate change work and the scaling of solutions. And so this is one thing that we're trying to address with the Connectivity Hub tool and the MAIA taxonomy that I will talk a little bit about now. One of the reasons this came about as well is because all of these issues are also compounded by a lack of standards in knowledge management online. So there is often, due to capacity constraints, various different approaches used by knowledge platforms to describe their content. And that makes interoperability a huge challenge, and connectivity beyond basic sharing is really virtually impossible. So you can see all these platforms listed here are well-known platforms in adaptation, and they use different terms to describe their content. Some of them are expert-driven by knowledge managers, some of them are driven by expert stakeholders, but none of them are based on a common standard. And I manage the WeAdapt platform on the right-hand side, and I can attest to the fact that we also do not use a common standard. So this is something that we really want to change. So the solution, one of the solutions that we found to this issue and that we would like to try and change try and sort of change the mindset of how knowledge management is done, is to help link this fragmented content and break down those silos that we were talking about earlier, and to reveal the connections around the work that is already ongoing. So in a lot of sessions here this week, we've already heard that there's lots of great work going on, but a lot of great work has already happened, and we need to ensure that the work we're doing now is building on existing work and not reinventing the wheel. So the Climate Connectivity Hub is a search and discovery tool, and it's designed to help users find those relevant organizations working on different topic areas and the knowledge associated with them. It uses a combination of AI and machine learning to generate actionable insights, as well as expert curation. So it connects diverse knowledge types and diverse knowledge sources. So at a glance, you can see which organizations with which expertise are working on which projects and what's the historical collaboration of these organizations. You can discover unexpected connections between different fields, for example, adaptation and DRR. And it improves the discoverability of content by harmonizing the terms that are used to describe these projects. And this is where the taxonomy comes in. So all of this sort of strengthening across the adaptation and mitigation landscape is to help foster cross-fertilization of knowledge and more coordination and collaboration. The key thing that I wanted to talk about today is more about the taxonomy, because we're actually launching the first version of the taxonomy today. So it's actually available online for anybody to use in their websites and in their online tools and data dashboards. And this is being developed through a process of collating robust taxonomies that are credible and scientifically trusted, as well as creating taxonomies and filling the gaps in those taxonomies through expert knowledge curation. So I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. But for example, here you can see that we have an article on We Adapt on the left that is showing the keywords that are using to describe this article, for example. And on the right, you can see the yellow node is basically translating those keywords on the left. The yellow node is a keyword, and the blue nodes that are connected to it are all projects online, not just from We Adapt, but also from other platforms that use the same keyword. So the summary on the platform that you see in the bottom right is just a summary. So the idea is the hub is not a new platform that we are trying to create to host lots of new information. It is actually just connecting to source platforms and literally being a vehicle and a gateway for this connection. So,
Oh, it goes to the very end.
sorry about that.
No, don't worry.
I think I've responded.
No, yeah, it's. Just looking to the where it goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
So just to quickly share with you which platforms are included in the hub, we now have the Cordis EU Research and Development Project Database. Since we are collecting feedback and testing, we've limited this to the Horizon Europe Cluster 5 Destination 1 projects and the EU Mission Adaptation projects. But potentially we have all the Cordis projects available in this platform. And we also have the UNDRR platform on disaster risk reduction, prevention web data, as well as We Adapt and climate adapt data, amongst others. And we're really interested in also including other platform data. So if you have platforms that you want to share your data on, please get in touch with us. And as I said, we're not trying to proliferate another portal, as has been happening for many years, but we do know that there are also taxonomies being developed every month, it seems, in the last couple of years. So one of the things that we're trying to do is ensure that when projects are created and they emerge, they disappear often when funding ends and leave no lasting impact. And at the same time, there are many emerging taxonomies and indicators that are being developed for various purposes, making it difficult to know which ones are relevant. And these taxonomies serve different goals from the ones that we're talking about here. So often the ones that are being developed are for sustainable investment screening or tracking adaptation progress or evaluating project outcomes. But they're not the same kinds of taxonomies that we require for knowledge management. And in addition, there are significant gaps in existing taxonomies that are not rooted in social sciences. So some of the existing taxonomies that might complement the MAIA taxonomy come from other European projects like Myriad EU or other initiatives like the Society for Risk Analysis. And we are reviewing all these taxonomies to see how we can fill gaps in the existing ones. Just to quickly say, we went through quite a robust process of reviewing over 35 glossaries and taxonomies, ontologies and knowledge graphs to assess what would be credible for a MAIA taxonomy. And the root of the MAIA taxonomy is the IPCC sixth assessment report and its glossary and the UNDR hazard information profiles, as these are considered the most reliable sources of information on adaptation and DRR. And this baseline taxonomy is the reference map for all other reviewed data sets. So we're able to identify synergies and gaps in definitions and broader and narrower terms, etc. But the other added value of this taxonomy is that we are including scope notes. So scope notes explain the context-specific insights and origins of a term, how it's evolved, and how it's used by stakeholders in different fields and across different disciplines and communities. And this is really key because the scope notes can really explain why there is sometimes misinterpretation or misalignment of terms. So this is just to show very quickly that there is a process that has taken place, an iterative process that ingests all the content from many different platforms, puts it through an AI algorithm, which suggests key terms to us that either match the IPCC and UNDRR glossary or suggest new terms that are coming from all these project descriptions from things like the Cordis database. So this is also very important for identifying knowledge gaps in the adaptation and mitigation space out there. So very quickly, just to say that for planners, practitioners, researchers, and many different types of user, there are various user journeys through the hub and through the taxonomy. For example, this shows you at a glance what projects, which are the blue nodes, the organization that I work for, SEI, which is the green node, has worked on, and the specialist topic areas, which are the orange nodes, that are related to SEI. So here it shows that we specialize in sustainability and knowledge co-production, which is true. We also do other things. But if you were to look on the Cordis database, for example, you'd see other tags show up like governance, renewable energy, gender equity. And the reason why there are two different types of topics being shown here is, again, a terminology problem. So one of the things that we need to do as a next step in the hub, for example, is harmonize the way organizations are described. So on WeAdapt, for example, which is where this data is coming from, SEI is described as SEI, but on the Cordis database, it's a legal name that is used as for all beneficiaries of EC projects. So that can cause a problem in trying to harmonize data. So this is another challenge in trying to improve interoperability. But for example, if you're looking for projects on the hub, this image shows all the consortium partners, which are the green nodes, and the topics, which are the orange nodes, covered by the project Climate Fit, for example, which, if you don't know, is a project on resilient climate financing and investment task forces. So if you were to click on any of these green nodes here, you would see what other projects these particular consortium partners are working on. So you would see the landscape of their work as well and their areas of specialization. Thinking about different types of users, practitioners, and disaster risk managers may typically seek information that helps them to design, implement, and assess adaptation measures, and ensuring different communities and sectors and ecosystems are resilient to the impacts of climate change. This could be in the form of adaptation plans or guidelines, case studies, and lessons learned. And so they may find the hub helpful in scoping adaptation strategies, for example, and good practice across regions, and learning about how similar hazards and risks are being dealt with in different localities. So here, for example, you can see that searching for community-based adaptation might bring up a range of results across different platforms. So there are at least 3 different platforms showing up here. So this is, again, something that you can't do just looking at one website, but going to the hub at a glance, you can see what is available across many different platforms. And you can then refine this search to a particular region. So here, for in this case, community-based adaptation in Africa. And you can also see this in different languages. So we're also trying to address the concern around language in a different way as well. So not just around terminology. And researchers, on the other hand, might be interested in looking for more technical guidelines or scientific theoretical frameworks, as well as practical frameworks that can be applied in different contexts. And so, for instance, if you're searching for something around ecosystem-based adaptation as a search term, relevant results might appear about the principles of EBA and the barriers and enablers to mainstreaming, integrating or scaling EBA, for example. And here you can see results come up for different sectors around agriculture, forestry, for example, and water resource management. But the interesting thing here is where the taxonomy comes in. So, and this may be particularly useful for researchers who are keen to understand how different interpretations of terms and the different applications of terms can affect either research or practice. So here, the scope notes are embedded in these orange nodes, and they might be particularly important because potential mismatches between perspectives and therefore misapplication is possible to identify. So a term may mean something slightly different in different contexts, but it also links to different projects. So here we can see that this term, ecosystem-based adaptation, is connected to 194 articles, 19 projects, and 5 organizations. But what the AI algorithm is doing is also matching any other terms that might be similar to this term and then connecting it to existing projects. So again, it's trying to reduce this fragmentation and siloing of information that we talked about earlier. And the other reason that this is helpful is if you look at the synonyms for ecosystem-based adaptation here, you have this option where the system asks if you have also considered these other terms. So in the back end, the machine learning algorithm and the expert curation that we are doing to support that has identified other labels that are similar or synonyms for ecosystem-based adaptation. So in this case, nature-based solutions sometimes is used interchangeably with EDA, whether that's correct or not. And therefore, it might be important to consider which organizations are also related to nature-based solutions when you're looking for, say you're looking for partners who are working on EDA. So here, for example, ECCA Africa could be a key organization to think about because it has expertise in EDA, but it's not currently connected to the term EDA. So if a new user or someone not familiar with the field is searching for collaborators or experts, they may be guided to a better search through the system. And similarly, planners may find the hub useful in clarifying national and regional policies that guide adaptation, as well as legal and regulatory frameworks or environmental assessments. So the hub can help with the discovery of these things, as well as funding and finance mechanisms. And an example here is if you were to look for the same term, EBA, through the Cordis filter and filter the platforms out to just show Cordis content, you may be directed to more technical material. So here we have things on marine policy and ecosystem monitoring, conservation, restoration, biodiversity loss, etc. And additionally, the planner may consider other synonyms also suggested as useful. So here we have ecosystem-based DRR coming up as a term, which might be used new to the user entirely, but brings up a whole multitude of different results from prevention work, for example. And just quickly, I also want to say that, as mentioned before, this system also allows us to identify gaps in existing taxonomies through orphan content. So when the system recognizes that there are no matches to existing terms and that there are no matches to existing platform content, and the AI algorithm also doesn't suggest any terms, these projects show up as orphan content and potential labels also show up. So it gives us an opportunity to start to fill some of these gaps. Finally, the hub and the taxonomy provide various ways for different users to engage beyond simply searching and discovering information. So through the hub API and the shareable open access taxonomy that's live today, users can interact with content more dynamically. So we're hoping that platform managers, for example, can ensure that they can visualize their data in the hub. Knowledge managers may use the API to support their own websites and web applications. And this, if you think about Wikipedia, you can hover over a term in your own website or data tool, and you would see the definitions, scope notes, synonyms, and metadata that we provide in the taxonomy. So for tool developers, this is also valuable because it can be imported into your data dashboards, etc. Some next steps are that we will be doing this with some of our own tools and data dashboards that we are developing. So I'm also involved in another project, Directed, which is incorporating many different flood risk management and other hazard risk management tools into an interoperable data fabric. So we'll be testing the application of this taxonomy there. We'll also be embedding it within WeAdapt and other microsites that we work on, as well as the MAIA project website and the Climate EU mitigation portal. So we hope that these different user journeys through the hub make the process of search and discovery of climate information at a glance lightweight and efficient, and hopefully through the taxonomy, increasing interoperability and enhanced and transformative knowledge management by platform owners, facilitating better learning and climate action. Lastly, I just wanted to say that in the development of our taxonomy, we're really interested in learning from stakeholders and experts about how terms are interpreted and used differently, and that you will find on your table some little notes where we would like you to think about any terms that you think cause confusion in your own work. And if you could write the term at the top of the piece of paper and maybe give us some feedback on how those terms, how you interpret those terms are going to work. There's some very short questions there about alternative labels and definitions that you have. and we will be really interested in seeing that feedback. So I'll leave it there for now. Thank you for listening, and I'll hand over to Andrea? Or Dennis.
Thank you so much, Sukaina. As well, Dennis, I'm going to try something.
Yeah, so I'm Dennis from Austrian Institute of Technology. And while we are waiting for technology to take, well, there it is already. So
Dennis, the floor is yours. Thank you.
things which MAIA was doing in MAIA are to a certain level, let's say, complementary to what Sukaina just showed you. So while Sukaina is talking about, okay, let us merge all kind of different taxonomies into one to bind them all and to map everything to it and to have all the data available for searching, which is great, yeah. We were looking into something which is more like, this concept from field to the fork, yeah. Something like that, but for knowledge management, from documents to some knowledge services. And in MAIA, okay, let me see how this works. In MAIA, we addressed part of this cycle, mainly the one about analyzing documents, and to a certain level also about finding the documents you want to analyze. Ooh, I cannot read my own slides here. So why would you even do generative AI for knowledge generation, knowledge extraction, knowledge management? There are several reasons why would you even want to do that. And the main reason for me is time. Time is money, and time is also doesn't want to.
No, it's not. That's a ball.
Yeah, doesn't want to. The thing is the following: there are tons and tons and tons and tons of information, and new ones are getting generated. Each project generates like 20 deliverables. Each city generates each year some kind of plan, well, maybe every 2 or 3 years, but each city, each region in Europe, each country in the world, they all generate some kind of reports. Okay, this is what we want to do, this is what we did, this is what came out of it. Who can read all of this? Nobody. With best will, that's thousands and thousands of documents, each of them hundreds of pages. So, doesn't work. But if we are not able to follow up this somehow, then we will miss something, and then we will double and triple and do 10 times the same things, the same errors. That's not really necessary, yeah? And we will not hear of the successes which we should maybe for years. It's also not, so there comes the generative AI. It's kind of our little slave which we could use to analyze these documents for us and give us the warnings. Oh, these are the interesting one, and this is what is interesting in them. So that was the first part, and the second part is okay. At the end of the day, why do I want to do that? Okay, I may want to do it because I'm doing a project and I'm doing literature research. Great, yeah, no problem. But in many cases, I want to do it because I'm in charge of some kind of a knowledge service. There are like customers or users of my knowledge service, which have specific needs, which have, for them, we need to get specific things out of this big cloud of information, prepare them in a nice way which allows them to go straight to the stuff they need. And that's the second part with generative AI, I think can help us a lot by then analyzing the documents for us, because otherwise some curator has to do it. And they also, you have to pay a curator, and they are not so happy to just read all the time new documents and analyze them. They are happier if there is a tool for them to do it. So if you look at this, we were looking for kind of use cases which make sense in that context, and you see there are some other projects which we were doing this with. Some are written, but today is another CSA. Clean and Power is a project I'm leading in climate adaptation space. There is also ECCA, knowing some other. So we were looking for useful use cases, and in our opinion, really the most useful use cases at the moment are the ones where this generative AI is used to increase the productivity of the experts. We don't want to have at the moment, because there are still quite a lot of errors generated, misleading statements, etc. We don't want to come to the situation where, in the name of a government, in the name of a commission, or even in the name of the project, we proudly pronounce, here is our chatbot, you can just ask it, it will tell you what to do against the climate change, and then people get misinformed. And that will happen occasionally with current technology of generative AI. We don't want that to happen. So what we do, we separate AI from the end user at the moment, and we have expert, which is being helped by AI just to do their own job faster and with less efforts. And the last part, last mile, is still classical databases, which what you get is what is in a database, not just some hallucination. So how does that look like, the whole system at the moment? There are basically three main parts. First is Walk Tractor, which was like a first attempt to do what Sukaina was talking about, to find keywords matching to different documents. It's actually a very interesting experiment because it allows you to say, okay, I have different concepts I want to talk about, let's say hazards, let's say TRL, because I'm talking about services, etc. For each of them, I want to have one taxonomy, and now I'm looking through a group of documents and seeing which keywords appear in them and choosing just from the top keywords the ones I think make sense and putting them in relevant taxonomies. And then in the second row, I can just use that to analyze documents and get them tagged. I think this is a very good way to do it, because I don't think that we are ever going to all agree on one taxonomy or even a group of taxonomies. And I even believe that there are valid reasons for different services on the web to have their own taxonomy. So actually, it's not just necessary to have one-way ticket to get, from 10 important sites to get them all on the same taxonomy, but also the other way around. I have my own little service. I want to feed it with data. Well, let's make it easy for me to map that to taxonomies I want to use. We abandoned that for now. I think some of the functionality is going to be merged later in some QA, and we concentrated on those two, mainly on some QA. What is a summarizer? Summarizer is kind of a search function, yeah? The thing is, it's not really designed to be just a search function. Actually, our initial idea was to have AI interpret whatever I write there. It doesn't have to be really question. It can be like a gap, like I have a problem and this is my problem description. If you try to just, put on Google your problem description and expect to get results back, it doesn't really work. I think it may be working these days better with other tools like ChatGPT. But remember, we started doing that 2 years ago when it didn't exist. So the idea was to kind of merge search and matching. And it's a kind of, it's online, it's kind of proof of concept at the moment, because it doesn't have a very large amount of data. It's just getting part of data from Cordis. It's also password protected, just because we don't have the power to let everybody use it. But if you want, you can get a password to test it. And then there is the actual SumQA, which is the main application we've been working on. The idea is, I guess most of you have seen things like chat with your document, yeah, or maybe Google Notebook LLM, something like that, but non-interactive. Yeah? That was the idea what we wanted to develop. We wanted to develop something where I can drop a lot of documents on, like 10, 100, 1,000, I don't care. Choose which questions I want to have answered about this document, so like, a set of questions. Choose also which model should be used to analyze them. So, I deleted that slide. Also even choose the system prompt and say, good, now do it. And then, go to lunch, go to sleep, come back next day and have your results. That's the idea. Typical workflow is you do it in several steps. First, you just, design a very simple set of questions, and then you have to optimize them in order to see, sometimes the initial idea of how you would ask the question doesn't really work well with documents, so it's a prompt engineering exercise. But at the end, we had pretty good experiences with this. And so why were we doing that? Automated processing of multiple files, reusable question templates, outputs, you can get them online. I think I have it here somewhere. So this is how the answers look like online. No,
but it's not being served.
Oh, okay, then forget it. It's not so important. So you get, a list of questions and answers. You can inspect them online. You can see also whether these answers, what they were made on, like which parts of documents does that even make sense. And then you can also download this whole stuff in CS file format and use it in your further processing. But I think more important than that, this is kind of simple. Yeah? What's more important is when you look at the big picture. We need to be sure that we are in charge of the models, that we are in charge of the data. And I must say, I'm pretty scared by the current trend, which is ChatGPT, Google, big American companies. We are losing, if we go that way, we will lose a lot, because all these models, they have bias. This bias which they have is given by their owner. I don't think that American company, Google, whatever, Microsoft, has the same ethical, moral values as European Commission, European countries, regions. I just don't believe that. And this kind of models, they will put their own moral and ethical values in the answers. No matter what you do, they will eventually, they will do it under the table, and they will influence everything we do. They will be used in teaching, they will be used for policy making, they will be used as scientists. Do we really want to have that kind of dependency? I don't think so. And that's, I'm not claiming my tools are anywhere nearly as good as what Google and Microsoft can do right now. But I do believe they can be reasonably good. They are already reasonably good. They can be further improved in the next 1-2 years. We will be at least at the level where Google Notebook LLM is today. I don't think that's a problem. And but then we have control. Then we can say, okay, I don't trust this model. Give me another. I don't want my data to go to America. Yeah, great. Host it yourself, or NBA host. I host it for you. No problem. I am working with military data. Yeah, great. Okay, host it inside of your company. Otherwise, I really don't like that future. So good. Now, we had some look at it, some recommendations. The obvious recommendation is these tools are really good at summarization. So summarization is not just, oh, give me the summary of the whole document, but also summaries of particular topics, like explain me what solution X, which is described in this document, is doing, in which level of development is it, how did the testing go, etc. So these things can just go through these documents for us and extract whatever pieces of information we need, and that's what they are good at. At the moment, they are not really good at things like tagging, so getting the text out. There are ways to improve this, but okay. And occasionally they just hallucinate. One good way to deal with that is simply to have several models asking the same question on each document, look at the results. That can even be automatized by another model looking at 3 results and saying, oh, the one is really completely different from the other 2, so probably that one is wrong, or just give you a chance to choose yourself. Humans are really good at deciding what is good, what is not. So that's also something we have seen. Now, I have some good news. We have got a new project, it's called Net Junction. And in that project, in the design phase, we said we're gonna do, it's a little bit like MAIA, but it has a task really to develop even a knowledge management platform, etc. And we have this put in design phase in a project, we said everything is gonna work with these tools. So they're gonna get a lot of testing, they're gonna get much improved, I hope. And then we'll have really robust thing to work with. This is still like more prototypes and testing and seeing what works, what doesn't. So like future use cases, simple one, complete knowledge extraction. At the moment, let's say you take a simple document, how we have a teleconference, you get a teleconference transcript and you say, who was here? And he gives you 3 people, although there were 20. So we want to be sure that we get a complete one. It's possible to do, we know how to do it. We want to be able to automatize that. For that, we have to trust the answers, of course. We are interested in building for very specific cases, like AI experts, which can tell you, oh, guys, we are building here, we are trying to build here, I don't know, zero energy district. That's one of the topics I'm also doing in this local context. And we are thinking about putting photovoltaics on all the roofs. And then the agent which is listening to the conversation just says, well, beware, part of this area is under UNESCO, so you have such and such legal implications. Or, yes, great, you can do it. Another agent says, yeah, and by the way, when you're looking for financing, these are the possibilities. So very useful things we can do with that. And that's kind of easy because they have very limited scope of what they can do. Here are some obstacles, and thank you. Here are some obstacles, main obstacles. So if you want to have this interactive more thing, then they have to be able to take initiative. In all cases, you have to be really more reliable than they are today, but we have seen that this is possible. We also know how to do it. And this short attention span, they don't give you all the results. Again, there are ways we know how to do it. So here are some solutions listed. That's on our to-do list. And that's it then for today. I hope it's okay with the time.
Perfect.
Good. One thing, if this is of any interest to you, please contact me. As I said, we will have this project which allows us to continue improving this, but I would like to have some, side projects which are testing, which are trying to make use of it. Of course, additional funding is always welcome. But above all, really additional use cases, people who really want to use this, otherwise it's not going to be sustainable. I mean, I don't care about development at the moment, but here is your Andrea, who is much more into business than me.
Thank you, Dennis. Just before the next session, which is about the discovery services, the most marketed focused session, just about these tools, probably afterwards in the Q&A session, we can make a demo, Dennis, that since we have on the computer, we can share over there in the computer if somebody is interested on how it works live. We can make a demo both with the SAM QA and with a summarizer.
Yes.
If possible.
And I also have, yesterday I did some experiments with some QA, so I can just show you also the results that goes much faster. Pretty neat, actually.
So I give the floor to Andrea and Basha for the discovery services. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon from my side as well. I'm Andrea Geier-Scholz from Smart Cities Consulting, a very tiny consultancy in Austria. We are dedicated to collaboration and networks. This is why we are in those projects, and we want to really make results more tangible and valuable and exploitable in the real exploitation phase. So it's basically about taking up results from accelerating results from research projects into the next stage until they enter the market. So, is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, very well. So just as an intro, there are more than 60 EU climate platforms out there. It takes, and this feeds also into what Dennis told, it takes 22 hours a week, almost or more than half full-time equivalent to manually browse information, allocate information, deal with it. And what's the most shocking is that 57% of the European regions are unaware of existing climate solutions in similar areas and elsewhere. So where it worked and where it not worked, and we have this situation of inventing the wheel over and over again. What we think is contributing to the solution is, on the one hand, is a strongly bottom-up approach. So build and give visibility to regional climate system ecosystems. They are either out there or already, or they can evolve from other regional ecosystems, for instance, in an economic context, or also from a sectoral context. So think about tourism and making tourism more sustainable or climate resilient. And then have this regional approaches and initiatives and interconnect them on a European level to exchange knowledge and good practices and fuck-ups and to speed up the spread of the really useful approaches by preserving the diversity that European regions have and show. And as we learned before from the more scientific and research part of the project, that there are tons of information out there that are hard to find, that are scattered, and they are talked in different languages, not only in terms of human languages, but terminology and sector limbo, and that it's really hard to process all the information that's out there. We come to the part that Dennis already addressed. It's like, okay, you process the information, but you get access through some good old databases, and this is basically what discovery services are built on. We have something that is a sort of a marketplace, or we call it a marketplace, and this is the first call to action to the project and to you here in the room. Before you can discover something, it needs to be there. So contribute to a web form, your developments, and be honest with the stage of development in terms of TRL. So we are not building a marketplace database in terms of it's a sellable solution, but it's also sparking further development towards the market aside from applying for another research grant. So it's fostering also development collaborations, not for research, but for uptake of results by stakeholders from the industry, from consultancy, from regions acting as first customers by innovation procurement regimes that are out there. So to spark this. And we heard about the importance of the region. So we want to organize this so the database will be, the database will be on a European and even global context, but it will be implemented and curated on a regional level. The regional branches here are the already mentioned existing communities and ecosystems out there. It could be a university, it could be research, but it could also be your chamber of commerce or some civil society initiative wanting to drive climate adaptation news and drive it further. And the regional hub has to deal with all the stakeholders that are relevant. So it's not only about civil society, and it's not only about policymakers, and it's not only about economy and research and education, but all of them together to have an exchange and to drive this further. So this is a bit more of a technical view, and you see nicely that we integrate all the developments, the technical development in these discovery services. For the database that I mentioned before, we feed it from the Cordis dataset as the first pilot instance, and we were a bit more generous as Pioneer. We have nearly 1,000 projects, roughly 1,000 projects from Horizon Europe and Horizon 2020 in there already. And we were more generous in terms of topic because we also address from the Horizon 2020 social challenges, energy, building, smart cities, so a wider context and more the application or where climate adaptation matters from the sectors. And then we do something strictly innovative. Instead of building another platform and another website for it, we decided to go for a widget that can be easily implemented in websites already out there. On the right hand, you see examples. These are strictly websites that we have in the project from the partners can lay our hands on. Also in terms for piloting, and it's much more easy. Basically it can be done to any website, and the basic idea is to on the one hand for not research or climate action related websites to enhance a website with climate intelligence and with climate knowledge by this access to the database and the widget, and on the other hand also to exploit is maybe a bit an ugly word, but to build on because these websites also have their audiences and have established a level of trust with their audiences, and to build on this and to piggyback on the trust that the websites and the platforms already have with their audiences. So that's the main idea behind it. So, and I mentioned, it needs to be fueled. There are two web forms. I will share the clear links as well, not only with the form. It's only web forms we decided to, it's all in the same database, but to structure it a bit with solutions. Solutions are really product, services, data sets, tools, and consultancy offerings in a more standardized way. So not call us and let's talk and we will work something out, but we help you with planning, green infrastructure, and these are our service packages that you can buy. So these sort of things, and for being attractive for the economy and for sectors, we also plan to create really marketable products and services. So not something and results from the projects that are around this event here, but on a proven market state to spark attractiveness for end users that are ready to buy, and on the other hand also to open up avenues for the take up of research project results, not only in another research project, but to be taken up by a consultancy or by an industry as a missing link for their innovation activities. And then the second part is what we call knowledge items. This is more that what Dennis will and his tools will help to sort out the substracts of it. It's what we call knowledge items. It can be studies, reports, but also education and trainings materials. I know from experience that many of the projects produce presentations, video clips, and any form of education and training materials that can also be exploited by the platform in terms of taking up and exploiting the copyright with a revenue stream feeding back into the authors and into the copyright owners. So that's the second idea that we want to follow up, and also to make valuable use of the thing that you produce, and also for the studies and reports and best practices and policy briefs to spread it wider. And just a kind note, be honest when with the TRL in your when you describe the technology readiness level, when you describe your project results, it's not about bringing them to the market, but find the next step. So if it's a TRL, then it's a TRL, and there will be somebody being interested in having your results instead of developing them on their own. So this is a sneak preview how it looks like. It's a bit ugly right now. But we are in the piloting phase, so you see you can ask questions, you can sort it out a little bit. What we don't have actually right now, as in today, is the sort of a data sheet what we will show, but this is the first for the project that you can, or the results that you select. So you ask a question like you have been doing in database searches for ages. So you type in keywords, you establish filters, and then you get a list of results, and then you can allocate. And this is the add to the booklet. We pilfered this from Cordis. You can put the results into a booklet to share with your colleagues, with others, and then to explore it further. But first thing will be to click on the result and get a data sheet that gives you more information about the owner, about the IPR, about the stage of development, about what's coming next, and so on. I hand over to and now this is sort of the technical basis that we have. What the connectivity hub, the AI services, and this database to get your first attempt on what's already out there. And on this technically means we set up services, so non-digital services or not really digital services. And this is one of the first things will be the regional hub, and I hand over to my colleague Walter for the next part and explaining the services.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. So my name is Varsha Ramlal. I'm from Brigade Connect, and we are also a partner in the MAIA project. So what is a regional hub? A regional hub is actually a local existing innovation ecosystem, and it connects to the MAIA discovery services. So, for example, as a regional hub, an incubator can amplify the visibility of climate smart innovations developed and tested regionally, and then they can at the same time gain access to R&D results, collaboration opportunities, and matchmaking services. So that makes it possible to connect to innovators with the European tools and expertise. So, for example, we are now piloting with South of Holland with Green Village. They are an existing ecosystem in South Holland, and they have startups who are working in a field lab location on climate change adaptation and demonstrating their innovations. And that's specifically tested in South Holland, but it can be interesting for other regions in Europe as well. So what we want to do with the MAIA discovery services is basically connect the innovators and the ecosystem with the tools so that they can also be available for other regions, because they can learn from each other, and also it makes it possible for innovators to scale up their innovations instead of just being there for a specific region. At the same time, a regional hub also aligns with the S3 strategies, so this also is also a benefit for them. What we expect from a hub, so in order to participate with the discovery services and connect to MAIA, is that they are actively promoting our services, and that they can refer to local entrepreneurs, to project stakeholders, and share insights about the good practices, so we can have a wider knowledge exchange. And we want them to serve as a local contact point. So we create visibility in the region. We understand that it takes time and money and effort from a specific region, and that's why we also offer them a small amount of funding to cover their efforts. So it will be interesting for them to join as well. So we are now testing this specific regional branches in practice. So we now are testing it with South Holland, but also Upper Austria, the west coast of Ireland, and in the future also with Albania and the Basque region. So what we hope to establish is to connect more and more European regions to our platform. We also recognize that it's very difficult for research projects to actually take the step to business development and to commercialize their research results. And that's why we also offer a MAIA Autumn School, and it will be later this year in October or November. And what we want to do with this Autumn School is to help innovators in advancing their solution towards commercialization. So we offer courses in specific domains. So for example, business modeling, IP and licensing, but also pitch decks, creating pitch decks, working on market readiness. So basically we offer summer webinars on specific topics, and the research organizations or the innovators basically can select certain domains that they are interested in and participate in the courses. So this is the specific QR code for the Autumn School. So if you know anybody who might be interested in one of the topics that I just mentioned on the previous slide, so for example, financial planning, investment readiness, or IP, a short track on IP, then please refer them to this Autumn School. It might be very interesting. And this is a short roadmap of explanation of the roadmap and the milestones that the milestones that we've reached and the ones that we want to reach at the end of 2025. So our goal is to establish at least 7 to 10 regional branches within the MAIA project. And this is a further explanation of the milestones.
So it's really about making a sustainable, creating a business model and creating a growth strategy for this concept to being self-sustainable.
Yeah, so we want to make it a sustainable model. Exactly.
without always going to the commission and asking for another for another grant.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that was it for now. So here, this is an overview of the link. So that's the link to the proposal of solutions, the link to the proposal of knowledge items, and also the QR code for the autumn school. So that was it.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, because the 19th is smaller.
Yeah.